All right, so we go say annotation test, and then we go get add JUnit. I'm going to use JUnit 4 to class path. So we get the library here, JUnit 4. We talk about what it is, right? So this is going to come with all the jar file that we need for unit test. Okay. Now we should be able to go to create test like that, right? And this is the dialog that I'm looking for. Okay. And we use JUnit 4, right? Okay, so I pick JUnit 4. And the class name that's going to create, again, it's just like automatically create a main for you. But this is no longer main, it's just another class to test, just the same principle here. Okay? So you can just generate, set up tear down. We'll learn more about those, but now we're gonna just click I want to test that method, because in this class if you have 10 methods, it's gonna list all of them here. You can check all 10 of them to test at the same time. It's going to generate the code for you when hit OK with a new class named factorial test. See that? Then we know this is to test that class, right? And then make sure, since I get the library already, I'm going to delete that one out. I just use that for including the library here. Okay, annotation test. Now we switch back. So this is like your main. If you compare back again, let me just do split the vertical. This is just like a new class for you. Instead of the name main, it's just factorial test. Instead of public voice main, it's just factorial. So technically, if I just want to print it out, I just do the same system.out, and you can right click and run the test, right? Run factorial. It's going to do the test for you and output the result 24. See that? The same thing, just like the main, like we used to do, but I don't want to create 10 mains for 10 methods. Right? Your application should have just one main for the client application that run on desktop. Run the main, run the whole application. And that application has all the methods that you need. And all the methods being tested to make sure they're all good before we compress, integrate them together to make one big application. Now, but this is not the benefit of unit test. You still have to do manually, right? Which is not efficient. Unit test is you can write a code to test your code. All right. So how do we write a test to test our code? I'm going to say assert so unit test, if you look at the library, it's just the classes, right? JUnit, right? It has so many classes. So you can always go to look at like JUnit tutorial, or even the Java doc for JUnit. So assert, we can look at how to use assert here, right? So we have a method, assertion. Assert is a class name, just like factorial is a class name. And the method, I have dot factorial, right? Assert is a class name, I have assert equals. So expected and actual, right? And we have more of that, assert same, assert not equals. So let's see what are those, right? Like for example, let's look at this code. I have string 1 ABC, string 2 ABC, string 3 null, string 4 ABC, string 5 ABC, I said string 1 assert equals to string 2. I try to check if that two objects are equals. These are objects, right? If I want to say assert true, I say val1 less than val2. Okay? Let's see. I'm going to see if I can test assert. Right? Assert. These are the lists that we just look at. Assert array, you can compare two arrays to assert equals. So let me use this one, assert equals for, this has 3 parameters, right? So let me use this one. The first one said the message, right? So expected, right? I expected factorial of 4 is 24. Expected 24. That's the message for me, right? So the second parameters, so that should be, let me check. I want to check again. The second one is let me expand this. Expected value and the actual value. So meaning that I expect to see 24, then I put 24, and the actual value is pretty much this guy that returns, right? It returns. I pass it in there. Correct? Now I no longer need my manual eyes to look at it. My eyes normally when I run, I see, hey, is that 24 or not? If I have assert equals, the program will check for me that it has to be 24. By running this, if I right click and run the test, if it's green, that means it's correct. Green, you pass the test. Let's see. If I accidentally write the code wrong, okay? Like maybe instead of return 1, return 0. This method should be wrong, right? I'm going to test my method by, you see that if I modify my code, do I have to do the whole thing again, write and run? No. I just come back and right click and run the test. If it fails, it's going to be red. There you go, you fail. Why? It's going to tell you. Expected 24 from the message. Expected value is 24, but the actual value returns 0. Why? Because base case returns 0. According to my notepad, if 1 of 0, then the whole thing is going to be 0. So that means my method doesn't work. My factorial is not working. I have to review my code and fix the problem. Alright, let's test again. I don't have to rewrite the code anymore. I just run it again. And it's just less than a minute tell me that he passed the test. So that's how you test your code. And it's not just that. This is only one scenario, right? That I said 4 is going to be 24. With this, I can test more than just number 4 by writing the loop, right? For int I equal to 0. I'm going to test factorial 0 up to factorial 10 if I want to. So I less than 10 or 100 or 1000, right? Less than equals to 10. I plus plus. I'm going to loop this as assert them. And then instead of passing 4, I just pass I. Right. Instead of expecting 24, now you might want to have another standard to test that you have verified that it works already. Another method and use it here to compare to the new method, right? Like for example, I'm not sure if Java has the factorial math. Java doc. Like this is could be a standard if they have the factorial for you to use. No, they don't have one, huh? You probably have to create one. So let's say I'm going to create a factorial, another one with the iteration instead of recursion. Iteration factorial int number. All right, so how do we loop and 5 factorial here? While number greater than -1, I'm going to multiply it to itself. Number has to multiply to number, the smaller version. Actually, I should have product, right? Equals to product times, right? And then I should initialize my product. Int product equals to number. And then, you see, I'm writing the code that I don't even know if it's correct or not. But I'm going to use my JUnit test this, right? Because we know this factor, it works, right? And then it's going to return product. I don't even know if it's correct or not. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to use my JUnit to test it now. Expected pretty much just we know this is the correct one. So we're going to use that. Concatenate that, that's just the message. And now we're going to have this as expected value because expected is the correct one right there, right? The standard one. And this is the new one. Factorial dot iteration factorial. I pass I in. If they are correct, then it's supposed to show greens. Otherwise, I have to fix my iteration factorial. Something is not right. And this is 10 of them. As testing for you. Just loop and test now. 10 of them, huh? Is it easier for you instead of you write manually 1, 2 and try to compare them? It's just take a little bit of time to write a test code, but you can reuse it and save you right more efficient.
Yeah, I think we don't change the number, so it just infinite loop. That's why it doesn't test it. In the iteration factorial, we don't change the number, so it goes.
Right. So it seemed like it keep doing that. It seemed like, yeah, something not right, huh? So let's see, that means infinite loops, right?
Yeah.
Right. It's just number minus 1, right? So you have to say number equals to number minus 1. to reduce that values, right?
Yeah.
So let's test again. So it still fail. Let's see why. See that? It's going to tell you right away the first one, expected one, but that's zero fact, right? Yeah, because I pass in 0 and product is 0. It's when one times 0 is going to be 0.
Yeah.
That's a problem here, right? So if I do product equals to 1 instead, what happens? Then I can just run the test. Okay. The actual is -1. So product equals to 1. Number is what?
I have a different question.
1 second. Then number equals to what? Number is the first one that I pass in, which is 0, right? 0 is greater than -1. Okay. 0, oh, there you go. 0 times -1. 1 times -1 giving you -1 as a result. So that's why it returns -1. It's wrong, right? How we gonna fix this algorithm?
So in order to test our program, we have to know what is the right answer. I mean,
Yeah.
right program. So if I don't know my program is not working, so how are we gonna get the right program?
I'm writing factorial. I know that the factorial has to be, the answer for factorial has to be 24. So what type of program are you testing? Like always the goal is I do authentication. The answer is has to log me in. Any application I want to build an app to do tracking on the mileage. The answer is it has to give me the mileage.
So I'm saying that because when you know it's going to be 24, you're testing just one, right? But if I want to test 1, 2, 10 for for loop, in order to test that, you have to make another method that calculates your factorial, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you know your factorial is working on this one, then you already have a perfect factorial function.
That's correct. You have to test the first one theory first by manually test until you feel like this is a good one. And then you go with a standard. That's nothing perfect. If you happen to have to do manual test, you have to do manual test by writing the code line by line and do the calculators and do, then you get a standard. Right? If you cannot find it. If you can find it, it's all about your algorithms now. You may have a better way to find it by using math instead of one by one.
What if the program you're writing asks, for example, the one I did was it asks you for a number of disks. So what if it's like unlimited? How can you?
Number of disk.
Yeah, my program, the one I chose, it asks to enter number of disks and then it computes how many.
Oh, the
moves
Tower
you have.
Hanoi? Okay.
Yeah, Tara. So how do you test that if it's like unlimited? You can enter.
You have to test each method. Tower Hanoi make you in order to do that you're gonna have so many methods.
Yeah, I mean,
You have to test each method. You don't test the whole class. Because unit test. After you have all the method works, then you integrate together. Now that one is not unit test anymore. That's another type of test. But this one we just look at the modules, the method. Okay. Alright, so how do we fix these algorithms?
The number is greater than 0.
I would
would set products to a number and remove from -1 when multiplying by product.
Which one again? Sorry.
Set product to number,
Okay.
and then when multiplying product by number, get rid of the -1.
Okay. What happened in the 0? The 0 fact come in, product is 0, then the whole thing is 0, right?
So it should be greater than 0.
Okay, greater than 0.
Yeah, it should work. Yes.
So it's return 0 then, that's not work. If I put in number 0, product is 0, return 0.
Shouldn't we add if like with everything return that?
Okay, if product not equal to 0, then we return this, huh? Else return 0. Return 1, huh? Alright, let's try. Let's see if it's going to be green. You see that? This is saved you a ton of times, right? You guys do this many times in your code, and when you run the code, you have to do what? Go to main and all the time, correct? This one is just
easier, to be honest.
right.
No, it seems easier than doing all this work.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know. To me, it seems easier.
Nice.
We spent about what, like an hour doing this. We could have probably just did what you're trying to do, like the actual program, like without JUnit. Or am I understanding this wrong?
This is a basic application of it.
So you said which one is easier?
I mean, for me, just doing it manually, I guess.
Easier for you?
Yeah.
Because
But-
this program is small, that's why it's easier. But when
Yeah,
you
once
program
you're
is
programmed-
bigger, then you have to
Oh,
do
yeah.
every loop. That's
Right.
gets tougher.
All right. So
Give you an example.
this one's still not working, by the way.
Show you my final project from last semester.
Let's see why. It's the expected 2. That means when it's get to 2 fact, right? So we pass 2 in. Product equals to number, which is 2. 2 greater than 0 is going to be 2 times what? 2. That's why we get 4. So it's something wrong here.
So product should be 1. I think product should be 1 initially.
Like in the beginning.
Product should be the 1, not the number.
Like the beginning, right?
Yeah.
So that's what we're doing.
Okay.
Test all of this every single time. If I just want to test that bit. Right.
Yeah.
Voila! We passed the 10s of them. I mean, this is what you need to do. I think if you get used to it, you will feel like this is better.
Test 1,000 lines.
Make sense?
I want to test.
You have to do for all the methods. Okay?
Do it works for you.
Any questions? So now we understand how to do unit test. Let's look at another requirement. Submit on gitlab.com or github.com and provide a git link to your repo.
Do we still have to code review other people? Because last semester that just turned into your code looks great.
So let me go to the second requirement first. Okay, before we talk about the
Seriously,
third
that's
one.
what the discussion board post turned into. Is your code looks great? Thanks. Like I uploaded a project with bugs in my code knowingly, and the person who commented on my code said, "Oh, your code looks great. It worked perfectly fine." I'm like, "Okay, cool." Didn't touch it.
All right, so I'm going to go to let me just use GitLab this time. This is GitLab. That one is GitHub, right?
So we use either, right?
Right.
Okay.
You can use either one. So I'm going to register. First time you just need to register. Let's go to register to get an account. All right, check emails.
Want us to check our emails?
Hmm?
To check emails.
Yeah, to get your account activated, right? All right, so after that,
Oh, I have a question. When do you want this syllabus and the student notice signed and turned in by? Tonight?
yes, by tonight, please.
Okay.
All right, so I get the email confirmation. I have account with GitLab. Now I can start to sign in. Use username. All right. So first, I get GitLab. And what is GitLab? Anyone know what's Git?
Version control system.
You guys know Google Drive?
What?
Google Doc?
Yeah.
Okay. If you think that way is easier, I have Word documents. You have Word documents. We're working on one document, writing a research paper. It's a group project. Okay, I'm going to work on introduction. You're going to work on summary. Another student work on the body. We are done. How are we going to put them all together? It's a pain, right? You see that, right? We have to come together. Okay, give me your file, email me. Okay, I'll cut and paste and right. Hey, I have some changes. Oh, have to do it again. Is that a problem? Then solution is Google Doc. We all can edit the same doc at the same time. We all use Google Doc, right? Just share that
We'll
doc.
have to use Google Doc for the same document. We have to like all agree on
Syntax. Everybody know. Can you write code in Word document? Not really friendly. Right. Okay, I'm working on the project. You do factorial. You do square root. You do exponents. How are you going to integrate the code together? This is one application named calculator, scientific calculator. Not easy, right? If you have on your, and then we have to come and take a look one by one. And I mean, code itself is hard already. Now, talk about Java project integrated and make it work. Now we integrate it to break it again, right? And someone do the GUI part, someone do the function part. Solution is use Git. That makes sense. Just like Google Doc thing, a place where you can collaborate the work. That means when I need to use, I have to, like now I have factorial done. I have to publish to the cloud or where I can give you access and do, right, the team access. Then you can get the code and do modify it and commit back to the same repo or repository. Okay. So first it say you can create a new group, you can create a new project, explore public projects. So let's say, for example, these are public projects. Like people write code and then they share online as a public. You can access to your code right there. Right. So this is all the code. You can technically pull the source in and see what they do right there. It's talk about this is how you use it with the readme file here. And nowadays we do a lot of projects that we contribute to each other. Then you don't have to reinvent the wheel to make something bigger and bigger. And they're all pretty much open source. Like if you want to create applications, you can just look at this. Maybe something is already existing. You don't have to reinvent the wheel in the public that they share. And then you can pull the code and then you can just modify and run it to customize on your own use. So now we're going to create a new project for the class. I have time till 5:40, is that right?
Yeah.
All right. So I create a new project. Okay, so these are just a template. Okay. You can import project from GitHub. These are all pretty much Git. See that? And this is a link that I'm talking about. You need to submit the link. Remember, on my requirements, go back to submit on Git and provide a Git link to your repository by reply to the thread and paste it there. All right. So go back to my, this is my repo. Project name is my repo. So I'm gonna say what? Factorial. Okay. Description just factorial. Okay. Method to return n numbers. Okay. You can make it public, like I just showed you. That's going to share in the world. Private is just for you, not sharing. Create project. Take too much time. What happens? Okay. All right, done. So this is the link that I need from you. See that? You can just copy the link and paste that on Blackboard. Like now, I'm going to go to my threads, right? And then I paste that. That's pretty much I submit my work. But of course, I didn't upload my work yet. I need to upload, but you can always paste it first. And then you can upload. Right? So I submit that. And I have my work done already. I do the unit test already, right? Now, how do I share that? Go back to here. Go to where? VCS, version control system. Git is the version control system. And import into version control. Now, share on Git. You don't have it. You have share on GitHub. That's why I said, if you want to do share on Git, you have to install plugins.
You have to install what?
Plugins. So that's why I just open for you for GitHub for now, because first time you may be frustrated not to get it done. So either or, okay? So again, import into, I have that, so I'm going to share on GitLab. Okay? So all the code that I have here, you should have an access to it. Like in a minute after it's pushed to GitHub. When you know my link. That's why I provide a link under discussion board just now. If you type gitlab.com/csc202 factorial.git, after this is done, you see my code right away. And then if you want to work on the code, you just pull the code, and then you get the same thing that I have here. You adjust it and you push it back.
Can you just show us how you did the import again?
Right there, then GitLab API. To import, just go to VCS, right?
Okay.
I mean, I'm still okay. Now it's validated. That's why GitLab is a little bit tricky. That you have to go to your GitLab account to get your API and paste it here, and hit OK. But I'll show you later how to get the API if you use GitLab. Now you can just use GitHub very easy. You don't have to go through this. Name factorial. Actually, what I did is I happen to create a repo there, right? But I technically don't need to create a repo when I use this IntelliJ. When I do this, like for example, I'm going to say chapter 18, right? 18-1. Right, recursion. So that's going to be my repo. It's going to generate for me right away. I don't have to go to gitlab.com and create a repo. Make sense? I can just do this. Let's see, it's going to create a repo named chapter 18. And you can set it right here. Private, public. See that? The same setting that you have earlier that I showed you. And now this is just initial commit, or you can type to any message here, right? Like with factorial and JUnit test. You can do HTTP or SSH. Okay. SSH is like more secure, it's encrypted the data. HTTP is just someone man in the middle can just look at your password right there. Not secure. If they have Wireshark program capture your protocol, then they can access your GitLab account. Now it's pushing. Once this one is done, we can go back and check. So I'm gonna go and get into my, again, what is the account? gitlab.com/csc202. And I have one that I created, but there's no code in there. I try to import another one, right? Once this is done, you should see it. All right, so now it's pushing to Git. See that? So the code is uploading now. All right, do you want to add the following file to Git? This is just the idea. .idealize that you don't have to worry about it for IntelliJ IDEA configuration, so I said no. Because try to put all the files here. Because the core is just the source code. Now it's done. Let's refresh. Let's see. So we should see our code. All right. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to let you check that. Okay.